Will Trump win?
Oh, I think Trump's going to win. I think he's going to win it. It's going to be a close one, but nonetheless, he's going to win big.
So the numbers are not in the moment, but do you think he can swipe one of these swing states back from the Dems?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in some of the swings in the swing states, and I have to tell you what, I'm actually pretty amazed of how people have been open minded. Like, you see the rhetoric and you see what the news says on the media, but these people are feeling it in their pockets. They're feeling it being more expensive to live the American dream. They're seeing that how our strength is overseas with other countries is not where it should be. They're seeing the increase of human trafficking, drug trafficking, illegal immigration, and people are upset with it. And so they're not listening to the fake news media. What they are is they're just listening to what's happening in their life, the everyday life. And the fact of the matter is under Biden and Harris administration, it's been a heck of a lot more expensive to live the American dream.
Yeah, and yeah, you mentioned the topic of drugs and also, I guess, illegal immigration. Um, these are, I guess, two of big topics. Also, economy, what you mentioned, and also abortion and these other topics. Do you think that immigration and abortion and also the economy, that are the biggest topics? So could they also decide in the swing states, because we know that is so different population also from which area of the states, and also we have some Puerto Ricans which are voting in Pennsylvania. Can they decide only with the topics and this demographics also the election?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say the two big issues right now, what voters are deciding when they go into the voter box, is the economy and immigration. Those two are the hot issues for people. One, the economy is not where it needs to be. The economy was way better under the Trump administration. And when it comes to illegal immigration, there's been a skyrocketing increase in illegal immigration and drug trafficking and human trafficking that's all tied to the illegal immigration. And so people are upset with that. I'm a second generation American. My family migrated to this country legally to live the American dream. And one of the things when I talk to my grandmother, my great grandmother about it, is they talk about how it's important. We want you to come to our country, but come through the front door, not the back window.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to have processes in place so we know who's coming into our country. And you have to earn the American dream. You have to earn, you have to work for it. It's not something that should be granted or given to you. It's a privilege. And so what we need to do is be able to fix our immigration system, be stronger on our immigration system, be able to welcome immigrants, but also be more cautious when it comes to illegal immigration.
Yeah, and I think we can see that also with the early numbers that Harris has no chance in flipping Texas or Florida, which some people said before election day and election night. And also a little bit other question, because we see it also in the early numbers that Iowa could be flipping because it's too early to call, and that is very interesting, right?
Yeah, I doubt it. There's no way that they're going to flip Iowa. I think that's just something that someone saw and they want to get people fired up. But no, there's no way. The people of Iowa are not going to elect someone who's actively is against the farmers, actively against fossil fuels. No, that's not a possibility at all.
Okay, that's interesting because it's very remarkable that in this early time she's leading there. And yeah, so also very important question, what happens if Harris wins? How could be a reaction of Donald Trump? Because we know that in 2020 there were also difficulties. So what do you think could happen if Harris could win, for example, the Blue Wall? So what do you think if such a scenario could happen?
Well, I think first thing foremost is that we just got to get back to work, right? If God forbid, but if Kamala wins and becomes our next president, we got to do everything we can to stop a lot of her liberal policies from hurting our country. We got to do everything we can to keep the policies that Trump put in that has made this country great. And what we need to do is we need to start doing a reflection on ourselves as a party to figure out what we can do to reach across the aisle. You know, we have seen that there's been an increase in votes from Hispanic Americans voting Republican, gay Americans voting Republican, Black Americans voting Republican. And so we got to be able to look at those demographics and figure out how we can reach out to them and welcome them with open arms.
That sounds very interesting. And also, so you're putting out the possibility that Harris could win this election. Is it right?
I mean, there's always a possibility, right? Like I don't have a magic ball to figure out who's going to win or who's not. It's going to be a close election, but I'm confident that Donald Trump is going to win.
Yeah, we could say the early numbers look like that, but we all know numbers are just numbers. We have no finished signs, and also that not all votes are counted in every state. But let's change a little bit from the presidential election, because we have also the House and some Senate races. Do you think Republicans can switch the Senate? Because it's very interesting also in that thing that we have so many democratic states, and there are some Democrats running to win their seats or win some seats back. Do you think they can accomplish that?
Yeah, I think Republicans are going to be able to win both chambers of Congress. I think we're going to be able to win the House of Representatives again, and I think we're going to be able to win the Senate. Look, here's the facts. The facts is that Americans are sick and tired of paying way too much of what they do not have. Biden and Harris has taxed us. They have put an immense amount of regulations on us. They have made it harder for everyday Americans to live their American dream. They've made it harder for them to provide for their families. Americans should not have to decide if they can put gas in a tank to go to work or put food on the table to feed their children. But the reality situation is under Biden and Harris administration, those are the kind of decisions that parents are having to make right now because it's so unaffordable. And they know that in order to get good results is we have to have in control the Congress. We have to have in control of the Senate. We have to have in control of the House of Representatives.
Yeah, because we saw that what happened last time when you have a tie in the Senate, that both parties must work together to accomplish something, and we know that happened not so good. Do you think there could be also a little bit of bipartisan work if if one of these chambers will be tied, like in the next election, or what we have at the midterms election? Could that happen? And do you see that these parties or both parties will work more together after this election?
Yeah. I think that's the one thing that's great about Trump, right? Is that he's the only one that said that he's going to be willing to work across the aisle, right? But Harris claims it, but reality of the situation is she has Liz Cheney, who isn't really on the other side of the aisle, and she's just a Democrat. But on Donald Trump's side, you have people like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You have people like Elon Musk. You have Tulsi Gabbard. You have Joe Rogan. I mean, these are people who are former Democrats, and they are now supporting Donald Trump. That just reaching across the aisle. And not only is he just saying, oh, thank you for your vote, but these are people that are touring the country. They're touring the country to make sure that he gets elected. And Donald Trump is committed that he's going to have RFK Jr. a part of his administration. RFK Jr., a Democrat, right?
Yes, but also Harris said
the nephew of John F. Kennedy.
Sorry.
No, it's just that just goes to show just how he's really able willing to work across the aisle to get good policies passed for Americans that will benefit Americans.
Yeah, but at the other side, we have also Harris saying that she will have one Republican in her administration, in her could-be administration. So there's also like this hope and also the motivation to work more together, because I guess America's so decided. And do you think 4 more years of Trump or Harris can end that decision and also that divisiveness in the American population? Also, I guess in America, that you are not more so a part of each other. Sorry. So,
what do you mean by that question?
I think, can Trump or Harris, as a future president, can America, can they bring the states together again? Because you're so apart from each other in some topics, and some families are not speaking with some of their family members. So
yeah, so let me just say this: there's one person who's talking about unifying the country, and that's Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump literally has a campaign affiliate called Trump Unity, right? If there's anything, anyone that's wanting to welcome anyone with open arms, is Donald J. Trump. I mean, look at all the people that's ran against him, people that were his enemy once. He just brought them into the fold. Like, he's brought them into the team and wants to hear from them. Like Nikki Haley, right? Like Ron DeSantis, like Ted Cruz, RFK. There's so many people. Tulsi Gabbard as well, that were wanting to see him out of office, but are now realizing they need him, that we need him. And so if we want to really unify this country and bring the states back together, we have to have a unifier in office. And it's clear that that's Donald Trump.
Yeah, and he or her could win, and that's the case, and that's the case in the moment. And I've asked that question a little bit earlier, but is it possible that Trump will accept if Harris could win? Is that a possibility? Because we know what he's.
I think everything's a possibility, right? But I think what's important is we have to realize what's happening with these votes. We have to make sure that every vote is counted and that every vote is legal.
Yes, that's great, and I think, thank you that you have had some time for me.
No, of course, I appreciate it, and it's important. Germany is one of our strongest allies, and so we need to make sure that we have a president that's in there that's going to help out our allies and secure the world. Because I'll tell you what, if Trump was in office, we wouldn't have this war in Ukraine, we wouldn't have this conflict in Israel. So we just got to make sure we got to get Trump in there.